draw maps, draw figures, draw flow charts. That would be our focus in the mains perspective, because mains is all about articulation. Hello everyone, how are you all? My name is Mohit and I will decode history for you. In this video, we will see what, why and how of history, specifically for UPSC Prelims and Mains examinations. Because history is such a vast subject, but if we go to memorize it, we will face many problems. But I will show you how you can cover this subject easily for Prelims as well as Mains. So let's start. Now, we will crack history for UPSC in an fun and foolproof manner. Because history for UPSC feels like a never-ending saga, right? Too many dates, too many facts, too much to remember, and you feel always like there are many things. Just like our friend here. He's confused because he's seeing too many dates, and without direction, completing history is a very difficult task. Now, but don't worry. Because by the end of this video, you will have a crystal clear idea, a clear strategy about how to clear or how to tackle history like a pro. Now, let's see what all things we will cover in this video. Firstly, how to approach history. What should be your approach to history for prelims as well as mains? Because be it our syllabus, prelims need some different understandings and mains need structuring. We would be focusing upon each thing one by one. Moving on, we will look on book sources. What is a book list for history, for prelims as well as mains, and important sources. We will be tracking down sources, be it NCERTs and advanced books. Then, moving further, I will be talking about some smart memorizing techniques so that you can easily track down your progress and you can easily recall all the things that we are studying. Then, towards the end, we would be focusing on mains answer structuring. That how you can structure your answers and you can go forward. So let's start the video. History in prelims versus mains. What is the basic difference when we talk about prelims and mains, and specifically talking about reading history? Prelims is all about MCQs. Prelims is all about MCQs, multiple choice questions, where you need a fact-based and memory-heavy knowledge. It covers ancient history, medieval history, modern history, as well as art and culture. The world history is not much part of your prelims preparation. When you come to mains, you have subjective answers. You have to elaborate, you have to discuss, you have to explain the significances of the events. Like conceptual understanding, analytical abilities, which requires structuring and argumentation. If I ask you why Gupta period was known as golden age of ancient India, now you have to discuss it. You have to tell how that period was golden age, and you have to give some counter arguments also. That yes, although they were the golden period, but some issues were also there, and then you can move forward with your conclusion. So mains is about conceptual and analytical understanding, and prelims is about fact-based. You have to understand the story, all the story you have to understand, and then you have to focus on your abilities to answer from the question or the options that are provided to you. Fine. Now, how to balance both? Many students ask me that, sir, how to balance the preparation between the prelims and the mains? So, you have to study modern history in depth. Because since the advent of Gandhi, when Gandhiji came to India, and when India got independent, the most of the questions that we see in the prelims or mains examinations are from this part. Now, you have to focus more on this part so you can read less and score more. Further, you have to cover ancient and medieval selectively, only prelims based. When coming to mains, it is very less chance or very less questions are coming from ancient and medieval in the mains. But in the prelims, these questions are getting more attention, specifically the Hindu kingdoms. So you must cover those topics from prelims perspective and some topics from mains perspective. How will you know? This we will be knowing by looking at the PYQ trends or the previous year questions trends. So we would be doing in our lectures that also. Then art and culture. It is a tough part because we have many dynasties, many art and architecture we are having since ancient India, be it Indus Valley civilization, Mauryan period, Gupta period until Mughal period, we saw very development in art and architecture. It is tough, but if we go selectively and if we focus on the revision, we can have a good hold over architecture, literature and art forms of these periods and we can get good marks. So prelims is about MCQs like our friend here, acute one, and mains you have to structure yourself. You have to structure your answers in order to get good marks from your competitor. Let's move forward. Now you must be wondering that, sir, what are the best sources to cover the history? We have some essential book list. Because when we go to study history, we get confused like this friend are here. And we think that UPSC is about reading more books, more number of books, more knowledge, and we will clear the exam very soon. But it is not the case because less resources, less time to cover the subject, more number of revisions, and easily you can score well in exam, be it prelims or mains. Now, for ancient and medieval, we follow Tamil Nadu, NCERT, R.S. Sharma, Satish Chandra. For modern history, you can cover Spectrum book, Bipan Chandra, because majority of your portion of the syllabus get covered in these books. Now, we must focus on multiple revisions from these books itself, rather than going for multiple sources and all other things. Coming on to the culture part, we must focus on specifically those regions of or those areas which are again and again being asked in prelims examination, like Buddhism, Jainism. So we must focus on these topics specifically from the book that are in the market, and the most covered book is Nitin Sanghania. Okay, you can read this book selectively and we will have some chapters. From those chapters, we will pick those topics that are being asked in exam again and again. Fine. And we can also follow the CCRT website, the culture website. Fine. When coming on to the world history, this portion is specifically important from the mains perspective because its understanding is important from prelims perspective as well to understand the phenomena or the chronology of world events like World War I, World War II. But specifically in the main section, you are being asked questions about Industrial Revolution, French Revolution, and etc. So, from the perspective of mains, we have to cover Norman Louis and Arjun Dev. These two books are enough, more than enough. But my notes or the lectures that you will be covering here, all these things will be combined and given to you. Even for your reference or revision, then you have to cover only some specific portions from this book once you attend the lectures of history here. Fine. Now, I will talk about a trick to remember what to read. There are many doubts among students that what to read and how to read, when to read for prelims or mains. So, for prelims, be like a factual robot. You have to memorize a lot of facts. You have to go through a lot of facts. You have to read them. The more you read, the more you revise, the more you can recall at the exam level. But in mains, it is about a storyteller. You have to make structures. If it is asked about that how Indus Valley civilization's urbanized culture is relevant in period of today, then you have to think like a storyteller. Like in Indus Valley civilization, there was urban planning, town planning, there was great bath, there were granaries. The streets cut each other across 90 degrees. There were drains. There were private wells in the houses. So it is like a story, a structure that you have to build in order to clear the mains examination. But in prelims, you have to read more. You have to read the facts. You have to interrelate them. Like in this dynasty, if this text was there, in another dynasty, what this text was called. You have to compare it. Fine? Now let's move forward. How to memorize dates, events and personalities. There are very much doubts among students that how to revise or memorize these many dates, events. So use timelines. Use timelines. I will give you a trick to remember all the Buddhist councils. Do you know when and where all the Buddhist council took place? If I ask you this thing, you would be confused and you would take a break of 10 to 15 seconds to answer this. But if I give you a mnemonic, you would be able to answer this and you will remember this for many ages, like Rava Paka. Rava Paka. This is a simple mnemonic to understand where did all the 4 Buddhist councils happen. Rajgir, Vaishali, Patliputra and Kashmir, that is Kundalwan. So Rava Paka is the mnemonic for that. And also, if I ask you, tell me all the dynasties of Maurya, like what are the chronological factors that led to Mauryan dynasty? Or what is the chronology of Mauryan dynasty? Tell me. You might be confused among that. So, if I give you a mnemonic, simple mnemonic, Hasina Mashuka, it is not some comment. It is a mnemonic to learn all the dynasties. Hasina mein, jo Ha hai, that is H-A, it is Haryanka dynasty. S-I for Shishunag, N-A for Nanda dynasty, M-A for Mauryan dynasty, S-H for Shunga dynasty, and K-A for Kannava dynasty. So, Hasina Mashuka is a mnemonic so that you can learn chronologically all the Mauryan dynasties. Fine. Similarly, I have more mnemonics that I have built up over the time so that I can help you in these things that you can understand the subject better, and there would be, in very less period, you can master these subjects. Then second, make mind maps, flow charts. Like if any movement is asked, be it home rule movement, non-cooperation movement or any other movement. For say, if a question comes about tribal movement, like describe the Munda revolt, describe the Santhal revolt. You know, for every revolt, there are a few things. Origin, nature of that revolt, causes of that revolt, consequences of that revolt, and further impact or relevance today. This is a structure that you can follow for all the revolts, be it tribal revolt, be it socio-religious reform movements, anything. This structure would work for you. So, in mains exam, you can help with these things, and these things only will help you in the prelims itself. Because if you write about origin, you would be knowing the place, you would be knowing about the leaders, and these leaders itself are asked in the prelims examination. So, we would be having an integrated approach to read prelims as well as mains. Fine. Now, after that, mnemonics and funny stories can be made up to remember all the facts. Battle of Plassey, it was fought in 1757. If you break down Battle of Plassey, the Plassey word has 7 letters. So, by knowing that it has 7 letters, you can remember the year, that is 1757. Easy? Yes, it is. Now, active recall and revision. If your class is from Monday to Friday, just read the class, attend the class actively. After that, on Saturday and Sunday, revise. That revision will help you to memorize all the things like a story. This story will be an integrated manner. You don't have to ratify or memorize anything. It will be a interlinkage of all the facts so that you can be a good learner as well as observer. And not like this, our dear friend who is confused that how to remember so many dates. But if things are made interesting and students can imbibe those interesting things, the subjects become very easy. Who says that history is a boring subject? It is not. Then we will be talking about answer writing strategy for mains, specifically for mains, because until now we have talked about prelim strategy, that how to memorize so many facts, how to make structures out of any topic. Now, if you talk about mains answer writing, you have to focus on answer structure. Answer structure means IBC. It is not any news channel, but introduction, body and conclusion. It is very important to trifurcate your answer into these 3 things, because when an examiner sees your answer, he or she might be clearly able to identify that yes, this is the introduction. In the body, you have explained the question, and towards the end, you have used a conclusion to tell the relevance or a way forward of these things. of these things. Fine. In introduction, you can define or contextualize the question. Fine. If a question comes about anything in the history, like tell me how non-cooperation movement was a game changer or a watershed movement in the freedom struggle of India. So now you can define, or now you can tell me about the non-cooperation movement, like when it started, what was its objective. That could be your introduction part, so that people understand, the examiner understand that you have a broad understanding of the subject. Fine. In the body part, we can use subheadings, bullet points, diagrams, maps. These are very important in history. For a 10 marker, you should have 10 points on your tips. And that would come from if you make good structures that would be given to you in the class itself. Fine. Headings, subheadings, bullet points, number your points, draw maps, draw figures, draw flow charts. That would be our focus in the mains perspective, because mains is all about articulation. The better you articulate yourself, the good marks you get. Fine. In conclusion, give a futuristic conclusion, perspective, lessons from the history for today's governance, that how 1857 revolt has an impact on the today's governance, that people must be managed in such a way that no strata of society should feel discriminated, no person should feel offended, be it religious or cultural lines. That you can tell in the conclusion part, that how those things are still relevant, like Gandhiji's vision of Sarvodaya is still relevant. That could be your conclusion for answers. Fine. Moving forward, we would be looking upon the keywords and diagrams for extra marks. Like keywords and diagrams for extra marks. We can use quotes in our answer. We can use historical quotes. Like Gandhiji said, an eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. This can be used when we are talking about non-violence, ahimsa, constructive works of Gandhiji that he did after coming to India. Do you remember the Champaran Satyagraha? Okay, one thing I remember from here, how to remember the Gandhian movement. When he entered into India, he went to 3 places. What is the chronological order of that? If I ask you how to remember that, it was that Gandhiji came to India and he first eat the cake. Cake is Champaran Satyagraha, Ahmedabad Mill Strike and Kheda Satyagraha. So these mnemonics will help you to better understand the chronology and all the story that happened. Moving back to our keywords and diagrams for extra marks, you can use quotes, you can use comparative tables. If there is a question asking you about, like, compare and contrast moderates and extremists, when it talks about how they help in freedom struggle of India. So you can use a comparison table where you can compare them on basis of nature of their revolt, or what were their demands, where they were active, what were their procedures. So that would be a better thing, and the examiner would know that you are a good organizer of your task. Because when you make a table and compare both the things, it is clearly visible. And as compared to when there are paragraphs, it is very difficult to compare. Fine. Now you can make maps for world history and culture, because maps are very important in history, and in history optional itself we have many maps. Fine. Like, you must be aware about drawing India's map. You must be able to draw a decent map, not like this here. With practice, you will draw good. You have to draw maps and mark locations so that you will have some extra marks. A decent map would be good. Like, it should look like India. It should not look like some other country. Fine. Let's move forward. Before moving forward, I will also tell you about that writing 150 words in 7 minutes is itself a task. You will feel like a magician. You will feel like a Babaji. Like, if you write in 7 minutes, you have to fill 2 pages. It is only possible to write 3 hours, 20 questions only when you have structures ready. And that would be the thing, when we prepare for mains, we focus on these structures. Fine. Now, I would be focusing upon common mistakes to avoid, because everyone tells you what to do and how to do it best. But nobody talks about what are the common mistakes that you must avoid during this preparation. First of all, mugging up everything mindlessly is a avoidable thing. You must avoid to mug up all the things, because previous year question and syllabus are our best friends. You should follow these best friends and always read what is already asked in the paper. Fine. Then we must not ignore the culture and medieval history, because it is a prelims trap. We must not ignore it. Be it prelims or mains, it is important from the both perspectives. And you must read all the major dynasties that happen to be taking place in ancient or medieval history, so that you better understand them and then you can execute them, either it is prelims or mains. Writing long paragraphs instead of structured answers. We must never write long paragraphs in GS paper 1 or any GS paper, be it history, be it governance or anything. We must always organize our answers. Use bullet points, use headings, subheadings, keywords to start your answer. Fine. Then at end, we must not neglect answer writing practice and previous year questions. Previous year questions and syllabus are our best friends. You must focus on them, because previous year questions give us trends, how they are asking the same themes again and again. Fine. That means that must be your approach. Now, if you think that UPSC syllabus can be covered in just 1 month, it is not possible, because history is a vast subject. You have to give it time. You have to give it time, and the results will be very fruitful, be it JS, prelims or mains, or history optional. Fine. Now, a final tip from my side. History is not just about the past life. History is not just about what happened in the past. It is also about understanding patterns that shape our present, because the past civilizations taught us how to decide in a place, how to form a civilization. So, it is a lesson from the past that help us to shape our present and also shape our future. So, we should not take this subject lightly, because it is a scoring subject in the UPSC, and moreover, in your general life. If there is anything, if you read sociology, it is nothing without history. If you read political science, it is nothing without history. So history is important, be it anything, be it a person, be it a subject or anything. History is very important. Fine. Now we will keep revising. We will stay curious so that we can learn more. And when you learn more, when you revise more, you get things easily so that you can cover all the aspects. Okay. Now you can comment below on the video that what is the biggest history struggle? What are your problems that you are facing in history? I would be there to cover all your doubts. Okay, you can reach out to me on the comment section, and please do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that we know you are liking our initiatives and we can bring more such initiatives. Okay, now after this video, you are ready to ace the history. So all the best. Thank you very much. Take care. Jai Hind.